Hi, I am Chilli. This is my YouTube channel, Chilli Maths. In this channel, let's study maths concepts. In today's video, let's study about polynomials. Here, to understand polynomials, first we need to understand the word terms. Terms consists of two parts. One is number, and the other is variable. Here, number can be any real number like 1, 2, 1.4, etc., which can be called as coefficient. Here, variable can be anything like x or y raised to any power n, which is called as exponent. With this basic idea, let's try to understand the word polynomial. Here, poly means many. Nomial means terms. That means it is a combination of many terms joined by plus or minus. There are specific names for polynomials based on number of terms. So if it has one term, then it is called as monomial. If it has two terms, then it is called as binomial. If it has three terms, then it is called as trinomial. If it has more than three terms, then it can be called as polynomial. So now, understanding this, we can say that polynomial is a series of terms joined together by addition or subtraction. Now let's consider an example. Now let's take this example. In this you can see that the first term as a coefficient as 2 and a variable x which is raised to power 2. So it satisfies all the conditions to become a term. In the second term you can see that there is a variable but coefficient is missing. But we already know that any number or a variable multiplied by 1 remains same. So we can consider that this second term as a coefficient as 1. In the third term we have a coefficient but the variable is missing. But we already know that any variable raised to the power 0 is always equal to 1. So we can consider that the third term as a variable where the exponent is 0. Now we need to understand one of the important property of polynomials called degree. So what is meant by degree? Degree means highest exponent of the variable within a polynomial expression. Now let's take some examples of terms where we identify what degree it is. So let's take an example of like 6x to the power of 4. So here this is called as a fourth degree term. Can take another example of 7a cube. So here we can say that it is a third degree term. Okay, now you might think, if a term has a more than one variable, then how to calculate the degree of this term? So what you need to do is you just need to add the two exponents of the variables, like 3 plus 2 equal to 5. So that is a fifth degree term. Polynomials are often referred based on this highest degree. This helps us in arrangement of polynomial starting with highest degree term to lowest. Now let's consider another example of an expression 10x cube plus 10 minus 5x. Now let's try to arrange this expression as per the highest degree. So in this expression, the highest degree term is 10x cube. So that will stay in as the first term. Next highest degree term is 5x. So I'll bring it to the second position. So now here 10 is a constant. So here, as I told, 10 is a constant because it has a variable with a 0 degree. Next, we can observe is it has some of the missing terms. For example, it doesn't have a degree with a 2. So you might ask, is it okay to miss some of the terms in between? Yes, it is okay to have some missing terms, assuming that their coefficients are all zeros. Now, as we have understood what is meant by terms and what is a means terms as a two parts, that is number and variable, and what is the word polynomial means, and how to call the different types of polynomials, and what is the degree, and all these things. Now we can move forward to learn how to identify the given expression is a polynomial or not. To understand this, we need to understand what are the conditions are there to identify whether the given expression is a polynomial or not. Let's move on to that. Condition to identify polynomial expression. So the first condition is exponent should be non-negative. Then should be non-negative. Second point is exponent should be integer. That means it should not be a fraction. Third point is coefficient should be always real numbers. So now I'll write down few of the expressions and let's solve them one by one. Here I've written a few of the questions or expressions where we can try to understand whether the given expression is a polynomial or not. And also we can refer the conditions to identify the polynomial in right side. So let's take this first question. So in this, in the first term, it has a coefficient which is a real number, and it is a variable, and also the exponent is a non-negative, and also it is an integer. So this satisfies our condition. The next second term, we see that it has a real number and it has a variable. So here the exponent can be considered as 1 and it is a non-negative integer. So this also satisfies our condition. So this is a polynomial. So now coming to the second question, here the coefficient is a real number and here the variable, again as I mentioned in this question, we can consider the exponent as 1. So it is a non-negative integer, so this also satisfies. Again, coming to the second term, it has a real coefficient. And coming to the x, since it is in the denominator, if you move it to the numerator, the exponent becomes -1. So as per our condition, it should be non-negative. So this doesn't satisfy all our conditions. So this is not a polynomial. In the third question, again we can see that the coefficient is real number and it has a variable with the exponent 1, which is a non-negative integer. So this satisfies our condition. And in the second term, we have a real coefficient and we have a variable with a positive integer. So this is polynomial. Here again, this is a real coefficient, but the variable is in the denominator. So when it goes to the numerator, the exponent becomes negative. So the first term doesn't satisfy the condition. So you need not to go and check the second term itself. So it is not a polynomial. Coming to the fifth expression, it has a real coefficient, variable with a positive integer. So this satisfies. Again here in the second term, this is a real coefficient with a variable having a positive integer as an exponent. So this is a polynomial. With this, I hope you have understood the basics of polynomial and how to identify the given expression is a polynomial or not. Hello! Hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.